Okay, good morning again. Good morning again. This is our last meeting of the year, and I am glad to be here. And I hope you're doing well this morning. So, on that note, call to order, roll call. I'm here.
I'm also here.
Leora. Okay, and I see Kelly.
I'm
So,
here.
can I get a motion to approve our meeting for October 14th, please?
Sure, I'll move to approve the minutes from October 14th, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. And I guess we will move to agenda number 4. I see a
It, there was
station T.
no there was no vote on the minutes.
Well, I just assume we voted on it. Okay. How do we vote on the minute for October 14th?
Aye.
Oh,
I say yes.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. We dispense with that. We move to agenda number 4. I see the T2 station remodel briefing by the fire department. Chief Hawley, floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Agabe. So I have a presentation today. Hopefully won't take too long. And we also have other staff on today that will at some point may have some comments. Chuck is heading up facilities, and Chris is facilities manager. Troy is finance director. I'll have bits and pieces to this. So let me share my screen, and we'll get started. All right, just making sure everybody can see that. All right, thank you. So just to start off here, I think you're all aware of our staffing of Medicaid, and adding more staff at Station T2 kind of accelerated plans, I think, to do a remodel there. Let me make sure I'm sharing properly. And just some facts about Station T2. This picture is from 2009. It's had some upgrades since then. But it opened in 1995. It's a little over 5,000 square feet as it currently stands. There are 2 apparatus bays in the station. It was staffed primarily with volunteers when it was open in 95. Over the years, as we had our staff grew, we did staff it periodically. For a number of years, we would run 2-person engine companies, which we don't do anymore. And some of those were out of that station. But really in 2018 is when we staffed it full time with 3 staff on engine T2. And you can see there with T2, there's 3. And with the addition of Medic 8, there's 2 additional staff there every day. Also wanted to point out that when, our city is basically broken up into response zones, but in general, looking at T1 and T2, slightly more of our calls are in T2's response area, at least in 2024, and that's been the trend. So just some overview, kind of big picture. This pictures were taken in August of this year, and yeah, you can certainly see the grass reflects that in some areas, but this is a view looking south on the property. So Linwood Avenue is on the bottom, Second Avenue is on the left. Looking to the west, Linwood on your right. I put this up there because this is going to match with the diagram of the current layout of the station. I wanted to point a few things out as the station currently stands. Some things to point out are really on the left side, there's an area called the dorm area, and that's really just an open space. This wasn't set up with individual dorm rooms originally. You can see in the bottom left, we're using what was originally planned to be an office as a dorm. And next to the kitchen area there's another dorm, which originally was planned to be a training room. So right now, those 3 areas labeled dorm are what we're utilizing. And the one on the far left, the larger area, that currently has 3 people in it in our temporary situation. So there are basically some simple dividers and lockers that separate the areas, but it's a common area. You can see there are 2 bathrooms, and the gym/fitness area is in the apparatus bay, which is not ideal for a number of reasons. So process-wise, Chuck led an effort to identify an architect, and we ended up with Rice Fergus Miller. They have done many fire stations. It's a primary part of their business. They designed Station 04 in Olympia and the new Station 34 out in Lacey. In fact, we're working with the same architect from the firm on this project. So we convened a work group of basically stakeholders from the fire department, from the labor group, and certainly facility staff with Chuck and Chris to meet with the architect and kind of look at best practices and what some needs and wants were in this updated design. And we certainly were looking for current and future needs in this project. We also have to consider that the building's 30 years old. A number of the mechanical systems are really in need of replacement in the current structure. We also have to think about how we're going to operate Engine T2 and Medic 8 during construction. So we have to think through some temporary living quarter situation. And really, this has been an iterative process. We've gone through several revisions to come up with what we're talking about today. So the proposal, and I've got a diagram of this here in the next slide, but I'll go over this briefly, is to add 8 individual dorm rooms. And that really is the standard today in fire station construction, just like at Station T1. I'm sure you've been through if you've been through the upstairs, you see the individual dorm rooms. That's what we're talking about. And as far as our staffing, why 8? Well, if the engine and medic unit are staffed, that's typically 5. But on occasion, we have enough staff to staff an aid unit, and we would prefer, with the higher call volume being in the north end, to run the aid unit out of Station 2. So that brings it up to 7. And on occasion, we have student interns on the paramedic unit. And in some events, we'll staff an extra battalion unit at Station T2. So that's, say a snow event or something. We'll want another command officer up there. So that really brings us to the need for 8 to be able to house. It's proposed to have 4 bathroom/locker rooms. And a key thing here is the addition of a 3rd apparatus bay. And that is for that aid unit and battalion staffing when we're staffing up. So this is really looking to the future. A good example of how it's difficult to run 3 units out of a 2-bay station. I think you can see that. Olympia is experiencing that on the west side right now, running 3 units out of a 2-bay station, and it creates some challenges. We're also talking about an expanded day room and kitchen area. There's more staff there every day. Some of the items related to health and safety we want to focus on are having a separate storage room and decontamination room for turnout gear, which is a hazard, and also moving the fitness and workout area out of the bay to its own dedicated space. Also identified are the needs really for some security fencing and gates there. To secure an area for parking and what have you there. And also we've proposed as an add-on, an alternate in the bid, some office space. And right now we're doubled up in some of our offices here at Station 1. We have our crisis response team working out of the city's building on Lee Street, which is not a permanent solution. So we need to be thinking to the future about additional office space as well. And you can see the bottom there, this proposal is for an additional just over 3,000 square feet with 220 for offices. So what does that look like? I highlighted the current footprint of the station to try to make it clear. On the top would be the 3rd apparatus bay with basically the storage rooms for turnout gear and what have you. On the left, which is to the south on the property, is the addition that accommodates the fitness room and the additional sleeping rooms. And on the bottom is basically a bump out of that day room and kitchen area to help expand that. The lavender shaded area there would be the all office spaces, 2 offices that we're proposing to add as well. We did have them kind of bid that out separately in the project. I'll take a breath here and just right now ask if anybody has any questions. We're going to get into the cost estimates in here in a minute, but I'm happy to take questions anytime. I feel like I'm just rambling on here. All right,
So,
as far as the site
so
plan, oh,
what?
go ahead.
1 second, Chief. Can you put back that? Thank you. So, in looking at this schematic drawing, it is an expansion, right?
Correct.
And then moving spaces around as from previous layout.
That's
So,
correct.
will this increase the footprint and knock out external walls?
Yes, it will. Yes, so this will increase the footprint. You can see on the top, it adds about 1,500 square feet for the apparatus bay. On the bottom, about 380 for the day room, and then at about 1,300 on to the south for the additional. So yes, it will reconfigure the existing building and add on in 3 different directions.
Okay. How far would this be from the sidewalk? Because I don't know. From my
Sure.
recollection, it's not too far from the sidewalk, right?
Yeah. Well, that's great lead into our site plan here. So I just wanted to show this drawing as we get to this drawing.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
so hopefully this will answer your questions. A key thing to point out here, I think, through this whole project is there's going to be a bit of overlap with this project and the roundabout project on Second and Linwood there. And we've got some I think some positive things that come out of that. But you can see up in the top right there the blue road frontage realignment. So the sidewalks are certainly still there. The T2 project won't impinge on that, but there will be some frontage improvements related to the roundabout project as well. So you can see the previous drawing right in the center of this, and it shows also one of the key things here is the addition of a driveway off 2nd Avenue to come around, clear around the station. That will help us with access in and out of the station. As you can imagine, even sometimes just pulling in there, the parking for the engine is sometimes different or difficult as you pull in to navigate that front parking lot. So the driveway will be very, very helpful. Yes, Councilmember Dolhoff.
Chief, I'm channeling Councilmember Joan Cathy right now, and I'm seeing the driveway is overlapping some trees.
Yeah,
The trees you're taking down, you're also going to counter that with planting other trees?
that's my understanding. And again, this is kind of the preliminary drawings, so we have not fully identified how many of those trees in the back may have to come out, but my understanding is they would be replaced in some way.
Okay. Just when you're ready to present this to council, just try and put that in there because you're gonna get that question.
Yeah. Again, this was kind of the first schematic phase, and as I'll mention here shortly, the next phase is actually the design work from the architect, and I think we'll have a lot clearer picture then.
Thanks, Chief.
So just how we're going to approach this is really just breaking it down into a couple phases, and I'll get into more detail on this in a minute. But the first phase will involve a lot of the site work, and really phase 2 is more the construction phase. The blue area in the upper right is an area that Chris Graham has identified for the possibility of a temporary mobile structure there for housing. Chris has looked at some work recently up in West Pierce where they're doing a remodel, put in a temporary building. So he's working that aspect of this project as well. Another item here I'll talk about more in a minute, but that driveway off 2nd Avenue, in collaboration with transportation and engineering, there's a possibility of offsetting some of this project costs with some transportation work, and that could be the laydown area for the roundabout project. So we can have some synergy between the 2 projects, which can help offset some of the costs of this project. And that's the hope. And Brandon has been involved in these conversations, and Ryan, and I point out an upcoming slide that SCJ Alliance is the engineer for both projects for the site work. All right, so here's where we're at with the concept. Yes.
Chief, one question. I see phases on the schematic drawing. what is the time? Is there a timeline for the phases, or how far apart are the two phases?
Yeah, timeline has not been fully defined yet, and I'll mention
Okay,
that here in a little bit as we go through what's included in each of these
okay.
phases. Yeah,
Thank you.
the roundabout project is going to start before this project, actual construction, but that won't preclude us from doing some of the site work there that can be done in conjunction, we think. Cost wise, it was mentioned by Councilmember Swarthout at the last council meeting about the capital facilities plans, and really they are estimates. So the estimated construction costs, if you include both of the alternates that were included, one was for the offices, one was for new mechanical and electrical in the existing building, an upgrade. It's just over $5 million for construction costs. Soft costs, which is all the permits, fees, taxes, everything, are another $2.5 million. So it leads to about $7.6 million for the estimated cost of construction. Again, from the estimator. Yes.
I think and my question is, what did we have as a placeholder? I think you're getting to that in the next slide.
Yes, I am.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, so what you're proposing, the almost $8 million, is not what we had thought it was going to be initially, right?
Correct. It is
Okay.
It is higher than we had
It's giving me
originally
heart
anticipated.
palpitations.
Yeah. But again, it's about the scope too. We're looking to the future, and the third bay and things certainly do add to that cost. Really, just as some of the early planning work, it was quite a while ago. We did the 2025-26 budget. There currently in the budget is $1.25 million to help get this project started. In the capital facilities plan, it was $5.25 million that was placed in the plan when that was developed some time ago. Again, before we had all the estimates. As far as financing options, this is probably where I'll ask Troy to weigh in. Certainly, this is a general fund project, but he's done a little bit of work on what other financing options might be. If you have anything to add, Troy.
Sure. Thanks, Chief. Just a couple of scenarios, and things are changing, almost daily on this. A couple weeks ago when I got the estimate, it was 7.9. So the good news is the estimate has come down a little bit at 7.6. But so these estimates are at a $7.9 million build, and looked into some general obligation bond financing. If we went out, did a 10-year term, annual debt payments would be about $943,000. If we did a 20-year term and stretched it out longer, estimated debt payments would be $593,000. So that's probably what I would recommend we do. Of course, we pay more interest over time, but it does make the payment more affordable. And this is a long-lasting asset that would, should last us another 30 or 40 years.
Yeah, thank you, Troy. Yes, Councilmember Dahlhoff.
Thanks, Chief.
Oh.
This is for you and Troy. I'm just thinking we need to build a community center. We're building maintenance and operations and T2. Where I get is everyone's telling us to expect a recession, right? So how realistic is it for the city of Tumwater with all our obligations and all the construction? I'm just thinking, I don't want to go in debt right now, right? That's the last thing I want to do when I'm seeing other jurisdictions file for bankruptcy. How realistic is us doing all of this, right? And how do we prioritize, and where can we adjust timelines? Because they all need to be built yesterday, right?
Yeah, I think that's a very valid question and point, and we should probably have some more discussions about that as we move forward here. I can run some scenarios considering all those things to kind of give us an idea what that might look like.
Thanks. Right. Because I don't want it to be at the expense of another project, right? Like, so how do we meet all the needs of today and building for the future and being realistic with what we have? Knowing that I personally just don't want to go in debt. So I would prefer a bond over like a loan. That's just my personal preference.
Yeah, and I will add also the community center will be paid for. My assumption is from the TNPD funds, and so that's its own source of revenue.
If it
Um,
stays on budget, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's something that'll be some serious conversations coming up. Is what size to build because we can't without raising revenue, which means raising taxes for the TMPD, we can't afford the $60 million or the $50 million option. So definitely some conversations needed there. Um, the Public Works Center or Works Operations Center, I think we're calling it now. That'll be part general fund, part utilities. So kind of a mix of funding there. So, but good point about the debt and the economy and everything. So
Councilmember Bobby?
So, Chief, are we going to be getting a new engine to fit in the new building if construction is done? Is that the plan?
We already have as part of our vehicle replacement program an engine on order that we should be taking delivery of in September of 2026. So that engine actually will replace engine T1. The engine that's at T2 was purchased, I think, in 2018, 2019. So that engine will not be replaced. The
Okay,
idea
so
is we would phase out one of our reserve engines at some point when we get the new engine on board.
we will phase out one. It's not like we're adding one to current inventory. In other words, we're not increasing the space for fire engine. That space will stay the same. We're just doing
Yeah,
other construction to the building.
correct. Yeah, the addition of the third bay would be primarily for an aid unit or a battalion unit. So it would have the engine, which it currently has, a paramedic unit, which it currently has, and then the third bay for, say, an aid unit or a battalion unit, depending on needs.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we should be, you know, we'll have a timeline for when we surplus out our, we have two engines that are the KMEs we purchased in 2000. Actually, when we built the headquarters fire station, we built those rigs or purchased those rigs, and they're nearing the end of their service life, but they are our reserves right now, and we'll start phasing those out.
so what I'm getting at is if we are not adding any type of vehicle space to that building, spending 7.6 or $7.9 million, it's a little bit, in my opinion, way out there. But if we were planning on adding a space for a new vehicle, say within the next, I don't know, several years, and we were just building out because we would know that the space will be needed, then I don't know if 7.6 or 7.9 is it's a good way to spend our meager revenue at this point in time. Just my opinion.
Yeah, the third bay we're proposing to add, could oftentimes again be used for an aid unit. And the idea of running the aid units is that would run in place of an additional fire engine, and it's a more efficient way to deliver EMS
Okay.
services with an aid unit as opposed
Okay.
to a fire. So we are looking to have that capacity in the future. Yes.
Okay. So then, if I may make a slight amendment to your presentation should emphasize that yes, we are adding space that will house a vehicle to service. So that way, instead of just looking at Dom, Jim, and XYZ, makes more, in my opinion, more. It's something we're adding on to. We're not taking away. So I think that would be
Correct.
more presentable.
Thank you. We'll
Thank
definitely
you.
try to frame it that way. Obviously in future years, and we're not talking the short term, but in the future, we're going to have to look at where our third fire station is going to go. But in the meantime, as our demand increases, we need to be able to address that. And obviously that'll be staff independent. But if we have this station set up with the ability to run an aid unit out of it, that will help meet that gap.
Chief Early, can I add on to your points, sir?
Absolutely.
Yeah, operationally, I will say if we had that third bay today, Councilmember Gabi, we would have an aid unit up there. That'd be my preference. So with that third bay, we will be parking an aid unit, and then as staffing allows, we will stand that up, which once again saves on wear and tear of the apparatus, especially those fire engines that they get beat up pretty good. So it saves on gas, all those kind of little other things. So yes, with that third bay, we would absolutely be adding an apparatus to that bay immediately, because I would staff it up today if I could. We only have 2 bays, and right now we're running a medic unit and an engine. So yeah, great points, but yeah, we'll be putting a rig up there as soon as it opens.
Great. Thanks, Sean. All right, last slide here. Last slide, basically, again, how we're going to phase this. Several things will be going on at the same time, but the idea is we'll need to get the agreement in place for design with the architect. There'll be collaboration with transportation engineering about the frontage improvements in the laydown area, the driveway, coordinating that. Obviously, it was mentioned, we certainly have to have a financing plan timeline to bring to council, because that will take council action. There'll be a bidding process. We are going to hopefully be able to start some of the site work, though, related to the driveway and laydown area and the temporary housing, which is important. Just to mention, there was a slide earlier. I think I skipped over the last point. In our agreement with Thurston County Medic One, we had funding. We negotiated funding to help support this staffing of Medic 8 project. And we have about $200,000 left of that funding, which our intent is to put towards the purchase of the temporary housing. So that's an important element of this plan as well. And then phase 2 is really construction, getting this thing underway, and obviously a big part of it. So just saying construction seems pretty simple, but that would be what we consider to be phase 2. So with that, we just want to thank you with a couple of our finest paramedic firefighters here at Station T2, and I will stop sharing right now. There we go.
Thank you very, very much, Chief.
Another
I see
question?
Leila has a question.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Thanks, Chief. One quick question. I thought, as you move forward, is there an opportunity for further discussions with Medic One? Because I thought what we expected to receive from Medic One was not what we expected. Is there an opportunity to have that amount adjusted?
Not under the amendment we had that funded the amount we're talking about. So we had originally negotiated $475,000. We used some of that towards salaries and benefits during the Fire Academy. I will say, though, with our last contract, we did negotiate an additional lease payment, and I think it's around $32,000 a year that certainly could go towards, a smaller amount, but could go towards this as well. But no, we're not able to renegotiate that original $475,000 that we had negotiated.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Thank you. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Chief. So our next item is purchasing contract with Axon Enterprise for body worn and vehicle camera at the Police Department. Chief, would that be you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Council members, thank you for this opportunity. Let me share my screen and then we'll get going. Does that look okay?
Yes, from my angle.
Okay, thank you. So this is just an update to the body worn camera project. As you know, it's something that we've been working on pretty strongly for the past several months. Just we've put together an amazing team of people to move this project forward to this point. Sorry. So this is our timeline, just to give you an update on some of the things that have been accomplished. I'm not going to go through everything, but every one of these items has been accomplished so far, including working with the union and having the MOU signed to allow this project to move forward. We have determined final costs, and we now have a purchase agreement contract discussion. And hopefully today we'll work on finalizing the purchase agreement. And I'm asking at the end of this for your agreement to move this to council for consent or consideration. Just the last two things I will talk about before we move to the actual contract itself is just a reminder that once this contract is signed, then we can move to the procurement phase. And that will take about 60 to 90 days to get the equipment. And then we move into the orientation and installation phase to get this going live. So the contract that is before you is for Tumwater PD body worn cameras and fleet in-car cameras. We currently have our fleet cameras are the manufacturer is GTAC. And one of the things that we have recognized, one, our GTAC contract is up at the end of this year. And then secondarily, running two video systems would be just a nightmare for records to try to manage. And so one of the things we've decided is to parallel these programs and get it all done at one time and have one common platform for the officers and for our front office staff to utilize. So what this includes are body worn cameras for all commissioned staff, in-car systems for patrol and SRO, unlimited video storage, which is a pretty big deal. Currently, our video storage with our GTAC vendor is right about 40 gigabytes. Sorry, 40 terabytes. Sorry. And so when you increase that with body cams, we expect it to at least double, if not increase even more. So having unlimited video storage is really critical for us. Includes Axon community request. So if someone in the community has video that they want to share with us, they can actually upload it via QR code, and it goes into our system, and our front office and frontline staff can access it. It obviously includes redaction software for public disclosure requests. It also includes Axon real-time translation, so officers can translate, live translate languages, over 50 languages currently in the field, and so we can have better communication, better connection with the community that we serve. Then the other thing too is that we know that hardware, especially hardware that officers use, takes a lot of impact. And so we're going to be able to replace the body worn cameras at 30 months and the in-car cameras at 60 months. And then the last piece is this includes full installation of body worn and fleet cameras by Axon. So they actually send techs out to us and help us with the install, the configuration, and making sure that all of our vehicles get the old equipment out, new equipment in, and that everything's working properly for our organization. Program costs, a 5-year contract with Axon runs $186,000 plus annually, with a total cost of the 5-year contract at $932,000 plus. So that is what we're requesting. And I'm requesting your approval to send this to council for authorization. Councilmember Von Holtz.
Thank you, Chief. I am so excited about this. We have come so far, and I thought it was going to take a lot longer. And I think it is so important that Tumwater have the same tools for our law enforcement officers as the rest of the county. And so great work. This is amazing. Thank you.
I appreciate that. It's really the work of Deputy Chief Keelis, Ashley Clark, Sergeant Kendersey, Doc Bowers, and Zach Ross to move this forward. They did all the heavy lifting on this. And so you're right. This is, if we are able to meet this timeline or maybe even exceed it, we will have done it in half the time of most of our peer agencies. Councilmember Dolph.
Thanks, Chief. So signing is now the timing. We're actually saving money versus if we did this later, right? With regarding using the statewide contract and the price of the cameras, they would be going up or changing in the new year. So by doing it the end of this year, we're actually saving money, correct?
That is correct. Per the our Axon rep, historically prices have increased by 8 to 10% per year. So this locks the contract in at these rates. If we wait till after the new year, they potentially could go up by up to 10%, which would obviously increase the cost to the city of Tumwater by over $90,000 potentially. So yeah, that's another reason why we're trying to get this done by the end of this year, so we can lock those rates in, as well as move forward and make sure that we get the right equipment for our officers and for our community.
Thanks, Chief. Chair Agabi, I am in full support of moving this forward and putting it on
Yeah,
consent.
one second. Chief, I don't mean to put you on the spot. Regarding our policies about body worn camera, we're still on track to get those done, right?
Yeah, so we have a tentative policy agreement with the union, and then with when the new mayor takes office, we will talk with the mayor, Mayor Dolph, about how she wants to move forward with presenting the policy to council and having that discussion. Couple council meetings back, Councilmember Althauser suggested it at a work session. And so we just need to understand what's the platform that you want to use to have this discussion going forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Councilmember Dahoff, on that note, I will go back to what you were saying. The motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move to place the purchasing contract between the City of Tumwater and Axon Enterprises on the December 16, 2025 City Council consent calendar with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the binding quote.
I'll second.
That was a mouthful. So, call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the motion passes, Chief.
Thank you, council members. I really appreciate your effort and your work on this and helping us move this forward. We are excited about what this technology brings and the potential to improve service at a high level.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Have a good day. So on that note, the next item is the
Councilmember Agabi, you muted yourself after you said the next item. We're all in.
I am
We're all,
telling
Guess.
you.
Guess
I
what it
am
is.
telling you, this technology, you move your finger, it does something else for you. I don't know why. I was saying we have the next item is additional item, and I don't have anything. So on that note, I guess we are going to be leaving early. So I will see you guys this evening, and we are adjourned at 8:39. You guys have a good day.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.